We are going to stay in the space and hear a keynote from an Ampeco competitor, Green Flux. And yeah, I don't want to spoil, but I heard it's not going to be sugarcoating, and it's also going to draw up the bigger picture. So I'm very excited to have Sutalan Gnanis, Managing Director from Green Flux, to talk about no excuses, scaling the EV ecosystem for mass adoption. Please welcome him on stage.
Thank you, Johanna. Today, we would like to talk about mass market adoption, the theme of ICNC25, and how to scale our industry into that direction. No excuses. Scaling EV industry to mass adoption. My name is Sutalan Gnanis. I'm Managing Director of Green Flux. Married, 39 years, 3 kids, living in Cologne, since 2021 in charge of Green Flux in Amsterdam, attending ICNC since 2018, so see a lot of familiar faces. And also since 2018, I don't see Christian Hahn. That's also the time where our relationship started. Also thanks for that. A few words about Green Flux for those guys who don't know us. We have been around for a while now. We are an independent SaaS operator for CPOs and EMSPs. We are in the market since 14 years. We are co-founders of certain protocols and operating in over 30 countries with a clear focus on Europe. Today, we are offering more than 1 million charge points in roaming to our customers. And today, we are processing on our backend 1.4 sessions every second. Thinking about 1.4 sessions every second, and also having the ambitions to grow these numbers, I think we have all together the same dream. The same dream to move our industry into the direction of mass market. Not only in terms of number of charge points, also number of vehicles, a higher experience, in order to fulfill that dream. And I think we all together have come along a very long way and made huge progress in the last years and decades. Acknowledging also you guys here in the room and appreciating you guys here in the room for all the work you have done over the last years. We can talk about interoperability, we can talk about 1 million charge points, which we have reached. 5 years ago, it was 100,000, now we have 1 million. It's a huge progress and a huge achievement. Thanks for that. But we also have to admit, we are not there yet. There's a huge valley between us today and the mass market adoption where we would like to be in a few years. So in fact, there's a huge valley in between us. And today I would like to give a reality check how we see the mass market adoption and where we want to be all together. And to make it across that huge valley, we need to stop excusing. We need to act now as one industry. And there's a lot of shortcomings and vulnerabilities which we have to tackle all together and where we have to trust each other. Let me try to map the gap, where we are and where we want to be, and what the distance is between us and mass market adoption. It makes sense, or let's say it's tempting to use Roger's diffusion of innovations theory. It's 1962, 1965, still in university, so there might be some good things about this theory, but let's use this. Roger is saying in his diffusion of innovations theory that mass adoption begins when the early majority starts to adopt a product, typically after passing the 16% threshold. And Roger's theory also says once we reach 16%, the strain and the challenges will come. So let's have a look. Where are we today? If you look at the number of new vehicle registrations of battery electric vehicles, we have today 14.5% of new registrations, which is huge, which tends to give us the feeling we are moving into mass market. And also in 2023 and 2024, we had high record numbers in registration. So that again gives us the feeling we are moving into that direction. So on average in Europe, we have 14.5%. As said, at a first glance, it seems like Roger's theory makes sense. Let's have a look country specific. If you look at the EV sales numbers in Western European countries, then we see that we are far above 16%. So it makes easy to believe that we have reached mass market adoption in these countries. But mass market adoption, ladies and gentlemen, is not about the sales of electric vehicles, and it's not about the registration of electric vehicles. It is about changing an entire system towards mass market adoption. Because it's not about the new, it's about what is normal. And if you would like to understand what is normal, then let's zoom out. We have today, as said, 14.5% in new registrations. But if you look at the whole fleet in Europe, we are at 2.2%. Why is that? The high number of registrations started in 2020. At the same time, we have non-electrified vehicles on the road. These cars are usually used for 10 to 15 years. There's a second market for these cars. And there's maybe also some double counting because of cross-border sales of these vehicles. Conclusion, yes, the EV market is moving fast, but the reality and the system we need to adjust or adopt is moving slow. So let me take the same map, what I just used, and let's zoom out. If we are zooming out to understand what's normal, then we also see there's a local reality in Europe that we are still far behind. The gray areas, according to Roger's theory, are the innovators. The blue area are the countries, according to Roger's theory, with the early adopters. According to Roger's theory, the early majority is only in Norway. So what does it telling us? So people in the audience could now say, hey, Sütterland, we are in few countries close, and in the next few years, we will meet the 16%, so all good. But unfortunately, guys, that's not the case. The problem is, yes, we have EV adoption, and we are moving towards the 16%, but our entire system is already today not close to mass adoption, experiencing strain and challenges altogether. Let's think about interoperability, let's think about reliability, let's think about seamless payment methods, let's think about price transparency. Our entire market is already under strain, far before the 16%. So you could argue maybe Roger's theory is not correct. Why? We have a high market momentum. On the one hand, because sales is also rising fast, but on the other hand, our real-world adoption or transformation is slow. And that makes the gap, which is a strategic challenge for all of us. We call it the adoption gap. Let me give you a few examples on the adoption gap. Now, if you think about the expectations which are rising, then we see seamless access cross-border. We want to have price transparency. We want to have reliable charging experiences and a clear, consistent communication and support. On the other side, we see the reality. The experience of our drivers of electric vehicles is lagging. Charging queues, long time, not reliable, non-transparent pricing. So what is it? Is it then an adoption gap? No, it's not. The adoption gap is in fact a reliability gap. The reliability of our industry, the reliability EV drivers are expecting from our industry. And when reality falls short and charging doesn't work, prices are unclear or apps are not working, we are not just making our customer frustrated, our customers, our drivers are feeling that this ecosystem, that industry is not reliable. And what happens if someone is unreliable? If someone is unreliable or something is unreliable, we don't trust it anymore. So our adoption gap to reliability gap is moving clearly to a trust gap. And this trust gap is the biggest risk of our industry, because that trust gap puts our dream at risk, stalling the adoption curve, puts our entire dream at risk. So if we fail to deliver the right customer experience, then the adoption can stall even before we enter the early majority or the late majority area. So I have to hurry up, I guess. So let's try to visualize it a little bit. Let's assume there's a driver coming to a bridge, and there's a huge gap. The gap is not reliable. He doesn't trust the gap. He doesn't trust to drive over the gap or drive over the bridge because he thinks there's a gap. So what can we do? The good news is we are not too late. We are right in time, and if we act now, then we can also prepare to meet mass adoption. According to certain reports, the early transformation will happen 2027 to 2030. So let's have a look. How can we bridge the gap? How can we find solutions to the challenges we have? A key word for this, from our point of view, is collective reliability. And I'm not talking about uptime and reliability of chargers. I'm talking about reliability in this whole room, in this whole event, with all the parties and all the players in the market. If you now think about, okay, who is this market and these players? We made a very simplified illustration of our ecosystem. And you see the driver, who's even not aware what kind of a backpack he's pulling or towing behind. There are multiple players. It's a multi-layered, very dynamic ecosystem. And we have thousands of players, really thousands and thousands of players behind it, which makes it even more complex. So let's have a look. Oh, what happens? There's a glitch. The glitch can happen because our entire industry will be as strong as the weakest link. If one of us fails, our ecosystem fails. And that's why it is about collective reliability. Good. Let's have a look into CSO, the charge stations owner. Is there anyone here in the audience as a charge station owner and would like to share some of their vulnerabilities or some of their challenges? Joanna, the audience interaction is not working as you promised, right? So okay, then let me proceed. We also have few examples for all of them. We will also dig into 3 of them more detailed, just with some examples. So let's have a look. There's no need to read through it in all details. There's no need to fully digest. As said, it's a simplified illustration with some examples, and we are more than happy to discuss it also at our booth in all details. I would like to dig into 3 of them. Let's take, for example, the charge point operator. Potential challenges they have is profitability, uptime, and technical reliability. The complexity of regulations, PCPR, LOM, LPBD, Eichrecht, all these kind of things is not making our lives easier. Let me focus on the topic of profitability. Yeah? The challenges of customers to increase the profitability can be solved by a few things. Highlighting now only two, which is on the one hand, increase your EV turn-in, so the utilization of your charger, means have a high reliability, have payment schemes, payment models, have interoperability and roaming, make sure that the connection stays alive, have proper POI data, yeah, so not a charge point somewhere in the North Sea. Make sure that the EV turn-in is a proper experience. At the same side, on the one hand and on the other hand, let's put it like this, it's not only about the EV turn-in. Once a session starts, a session must be profitable. You can increase your profitability by increasing your tariffs, which is maybe not always the most clever approach, but you can also reduce your costs. You can reduce your costs because of your hardware you're purchasing, the site owners, power purchase agreements you have in place, smart charging capabilities, day ahead, dynamic pricing, etc., etc. There's a lot of possibilities, and I think at ICNC25 you have more than one option or multiple options to discuss these kind of ideas. Let's have a look into software as a service providers, such as Greenflux. What are we facing as a challenge? Let me take the second one. It's about rapidly evolving standards. It's about rapidly evolving regulations, protocols, etc., etc. That's a very dynamic environment. So you need to have a mindset in your organization where you have really proactive exploration, the eagerness and really the interest to learn, explore, and to research, to be ahead and to anticipate certain challenges and developments in the market. I just learned yesterday that that Hubject is also now moving to OCPI, which is also a huge step exactly into that direction. And also I learned yesterday that Hubject, in person Christian Hahn, wants to move as a community, as a collective, in order to really make the right steps happen. For example, on the 12th of September this year, this month even, so next week, there is the discussion in Europe, in Brussels, about our 2035 targets. We can all stay here and just wait, or we can all together engage. If you talk about, for example, roaming providers, such as roaming platforms like Hubject, Giraffe, etc., or CPMS companies who are offering roaming solutions, or OCPI hubs, etc., they also have their own vulnerabilities and challenges. We would like to highlight here the latter one, settlement and financial reconciliation. What we see in the market and what we have experienced in the market and what we would like to give as an input is really work on compliant business models, scalable business models. Make sure that you have proper contracting in place. And last but not least, and that's now really a bit of a pitch for Greenflux, have a best-in-class settlement engine. So far, just to have digged into 3 of them, but happy to dig more into more of them later on. But what is the key message of today? The key message of today, it's a mindset change, ladies and gentlemen. We are all part of the bridge that crosses the valley. And we are all responsible that this valley can be bridged. And it's up to us, because let's make one thing clear. If one of us fail, we all fail. So that's why our statement today and our request is, let's unite all together our shared mission. Let's be the professionals we are, and let's harmonize and standardize our industry in order to move to the direction of mass market adoption. So again, my key message to drive us together to mass adoption is collective reliability. And if we can make this all together, then I can also promise you all together, coming back to my opening, we all have the same dream, and let's bridge it and make it happen all together. Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Sutalan. We have a few minutes for questions. I have 3 at least, so we have to be quick with the answers so we can pull through them.
Okay.
If hands go up now, we have even more, so we have to be even quicker.
All right.
But the first question, we talked about this earlier. We heard Ampeco. We will hear other talks from keynotes from software providers throughout the next 2 days. So I would like to ask you very precisely, what's your USP? How are you better than your direct competitors?
How are we better than our direct competitors? I would say I cannot. I cannot, and I would not like to answer that question. Like, what makes us better? I think all of us, we have our pros and cons. Yeah. Greenflux was acquired 2021 by DKV Mobility Group, a company with almost 100 years of mobility experience, almost 100 years in settlement. We learned quite a lot from Greenflux. We made very clear where our focus is. Our focus is on public charging. Our focus is on offering a software as a service which is as flexible as possible with an API-first design. We offer additional services like smart charging, where we are pioneers in, and roaming, as, let's say, from a product point of view. But as I said, it's collective reliability. It's not only about the feature and the product. It's also about the mindset and the way how you are organized. And that's what I just said, with the 100 years of experience in our back.
That's your USP.
Yes.
The next question goes towards price transparency. So how are you enabling price transparency at public charge points as a B2B?
Yeah. So we, as said, we proactively explored all the regulations, such as AFIR, and made up our minds how we can fulfill and ensure price transparency. We have different ways of price transparency, how we are ensuring it. We have on the one hand the direct communication via protocols and OCPI and the tariff module. On the other hand, we have a so-called Greenflux tariff communication portal where all our EMSP customers can log in and see the prices.
I hope that answers the question. And finally, the last question goes towards elderly people, sort of the late majority maybe. Do you see usability and accessibility issues with elderly people, assuming actual users are tech-savvy and familiar with
Whoa. What was the second part?
The question is, like, how do you get your products ready for a mass market that also includes a lot of elderly people?
Okay, first and foremost, this is a question towards our CPO customers.
Yeah.
Right? They have to make sure that the charge point can be accessed, that it is ergonomically fitting also for elderly people. We do our homework internally, but we also listen to our customers and we make sure that we bring the right features in place.
What they need. Thank you so much. I think we have to wrap it up here. Thank you, Sutalan. Great talk. And yeah, I think, thank you. Warm applause for Sutalan.
Thank you very much.